Welcome to Daggers and Shadow Daddies.
We're your hosts, Ryan and Adriana.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Rhys is playing with our hearts. Yes, our hearts. He's messing with you, me, and Farrah's heart by not being there at the dock when they get off the boat. Do you remember why?
I believe the term is fantasy fuckboy. Do fantasy fuckboy things?
No.
No, okay, hold on. So there's a dock for some reason, which means they were near water. Hold on, give me a second. I've got to remember, it has been...
They were on a boat.
Oh, no, because I remember I wanted to make a joke about this, but I could not take notes. The boat is called his, he's got some stupid name for it. It's like Party Barge.
I didn't remember it being named anything.
Yeah, he calls the boat something. Like, I'm inviting you all on a party on my bang boat. Whatever, but it's something like that. I don't remember. Oh, man, I want to look it up. First of all, Party Barge is a real thing, but he has a name for it.
Pleasure Barge.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's what I said. Bang boat. Whatever.
The Pleasure Barge. Yeah, well, Rhys wasn't getting off the Pleasure Barge with everybody else. He was somewhere up to no good, messing with our hearts. I assumed that you were heartbroken and betrayed as much as the rest of us were.
It's so wild that I don't remember this. I'm not going to lie to you.
Very, very last part.
Okay, so I remember in the last part, well, it makes sense because I remember her being upset and I was like, why are you upset? Like, she went off and flirted with the guy and told him, you would be easy to love. And then he's like, sweet, you want to try loving me? And she's like, no.
I need some space.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they were in the room before they went back out at some point? Farrah went to her room and Rhys shows up and he opens the door and he leans against the back of the door, but with his shirt unbuttoned. And he's like, you need to do what it takes for this mission. She's like, what about sleeping with him? He's like, if that's what it takes, I guess.
I think what I heard him say was, it won't take that. Like, why do you keep trying to sleep with people?
She plays these games with him. And then it's after this. So she just messes with him, talking about, should I sleep with him? And he's like, okay, you do you. And don't show Tarquin your new little water tricks. And then it goes back to them out there and he's flirting with the princess. And she's all butthurt about it.
Okay.
Another example of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Now he's not there to get off the boat with everyone else. And you know exactly where he's at. First
of all, I don't like the idea that it's water tricks. You know what water tricks are?
No.
That's people peeing on stuff. They didn't get it. And water tricks are like people peeing on things, like golden showers and those sorts of things.
Oh my God.
That's water tricks. So the fact that he's like, don't go showing him your water trick. I laughed hysterically like a moron. I'm taking a skylight out of a house and I'm just laughing like an idiot. Neighbor lady, 90 years old.
They don't use the word water tricks in the book.
No, he does. It's really similar to that.
It's implied. Yeah, don't show him that.
Well, no, it's something like, don't show him your other stuff. Like, it is a very funny way of saying, like, hey, don't let him know that you have any powers. But he does say it in a way where it's like, don't show him any of your party tricks.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck, guy? Like, why are you saying this so funny? Like, you don't have to speak in code.
I think that he was accepting that she would sleep with him. And he's like, go ahead. I wouldn't show him that. And then he's just butthurt. And he's like, I'll find my own woman.
I don't think so. I think he's constantly daring her to do shit that he knows she's not going to do.
Yeah.
Nothing she has shown him so far would lead him to believe that she would immediately sleep with this guy.
Other than her flirting the entire time.
Okay, so if every time you have a pleasant conversation with another dude, I assumed you wanted to bang him, would that not be odd?
It's not her having pleasant conversations. She literally said, you seem like someone that I could get to know better. He's like, you can.
Yeah, it sounds to me where she was like, hey, you seem like somebody I could get to know better. I could grow to love you. or loving you would be easy. I can't remember. It was some
that
weird
would be
lyrical
insane to say to someone.
Yeah.
Unless you were flirting with them.
Or unless you were just trying to get on their good side. I agree with the fact that she was flirting, but I think if he knows her personality, he could be more than aware of the fact that this is not her actually going to bang the guy.
She's been without. She needs to get some. And she just found out, because she even talked about how she's been without while she was on the pleasure barge. Pleasure barge name.
The only thing hornier than Feyre in this chapter is the author. Naming shit pleasure barge, doing whatever other sort of fantasy sexy things are happening. This is a horny section of the book considering nobody has sex.
Well, Rhys got laid.
We don't think so. I think you're assuming things.
I think he did.
I think you're going to find out that that's not the case.
Well, we'll see.
I think maybe the princess is dead because she tried to get a letter out to Tamlin and he made good on his promise.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I don't think that's happening. I think that's what you want to happen so it becomes an even more interesting book to you.
It would be so much better. But also, I think, I'm not assuming rhysand's out here sleeping with randos. He also has done nothing to lead us to believe that would be the case, other than this one inconvenient moment.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm really hoping for that because I was
Wait,
feeling...
is this how we're starting? We're starting at the end?
Yeah, I was feeling betrayed like Feyre, where she's just like, where is he?
Wow.
Are you, excuse me, where he's just not here. And that's what it ends on. And then we're just left with this. Unlike
Perhaps he heard back from the queen.
Could be.
And then he's like, I better go solve this issue.
He's doing business. I thought he was doing other business.
Pleasure
bar.
You thought he was busy doing pleasure, which should have been doing business.
Yeah.
And you thought that he would say, it's a business doing pleasure with you, princess. What's your name? Can you give her that awkward handshake?
I'm going to start you back at the beginning.
I feel like, hold on, are there rooms on this boat?
Yes, because she has a room. Yeah, she had a bedroom. Sense. It was very nice. And then that's where she is the one who pushed Rhys away by taunting him and saying, should I sleep with Tarquin? Should I do it to get the job done? And Rhys is like, yeah, sure, I guess, if that's what you need. And then, surprise, he goes and flirts with other women and then doesn't show up to get off the boat.
Yeah, but could he not just like winnow off the boat? Maybe he's at home. Like, honestly, he's like, yeah, I get a little seasick. Like, I went back, no big deal. Like, I think Pharaoh's absurdity in no way has anything to do with, Rhys has done nothing so far to make us believe that he's out there banging randos. He's not even banging people he knows.
That's true.
As far as we're aware of, the last person he had sex with was Amarantha.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, he was in Night Court for 3 months before he showed up to get Aira.
Yeah, but the last confirmed one.
Yeah, confirmed.
Amarantha.
Confirmed outing.
Yeah, the last confirmed kill was Amarantha. Okay. Since then, for all we know, he's just been wailing on himself.
Stop.
Giving it the old Dark Knight treatment.
No, you're done. Let's start at the beginning. I just want to kind of share my feelings of how I felt at the end of this little section. I am anxiously waiting for the next chapters to know what was he doing.
I'm heartbroken.
I was thinking
rhysand.
Getting laid. Stop.
Honestly, I don't hope he does, and I don't care if he didn't. At this point, I'm like, Feyre's just trying to start shit all the time with everybody. I have so much to talk about. And honestly, I enjoyed Feyre. Yeah, I want to put that out there too, since we're starting from the end.
Well, I was just talking about how I felt at the end.
Yeah, no, that's
a big moment there of just being left on a cliffhanger.
That's what I'm saying. I'm starting from the end also. Toward the end of this, I liked Feyre more before they got on the penis barrage.
Why did you like Feyre more?
Leading up to that moment, she had some confidence, right? They didn't have to give her a magic necklace for her to go into this place. And then when they're like, hey, what role do you play? And then Feyre was like, I knew that this was a pointed question. And then she would give away her little Billy Badass answers instead of...
She was calm, cool, collected.
Somewhat, yeah. She did a great job. I was so happy for that. I'm like, thank you. We've done it. We've really landed where we wanted to.
After the last time that we talked, I did some Googling, one of which was looking up the age timelines. And it looks like it's an issue for others on Reddit, so I quit looking into that. There were no answers. And I'm just going to leave it be. And we're just going to keep moving along. And if you keep complaining, I'm just going to be happy and not thinking about the ages or timelines.
I think it's awesome that you brought that up because that's brought up in this section of chapters.
What is?
The ages of people.
Yeah.
You remember in what context that was brought up?
Tarquin becoming the High Lord. He was like 30 years old. He's like a little baby.
No, how
40.
young? He's 200.
What?
He's like, it was something about like him being 200 years old when he became High Lord.
Tarquin?
Yes.
No.
Correct. He became High Lord under the mountain.
Which was in the last 50 years.
And he is no longer an adolescent.
I said he's 30 and he's a little baby.
He's nowhere near 30 years old.
How old was Tarquin when he became a High Lord? He was like 30 years old when he went under the mountain. So he's at max, like 70.
So he's 80 now or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. I thought he was like 70.
There was just some mention of 200 years ago in this deal, I guess.
I don't remember what it was, but I know that he's a little baby. And one of our TikToks that we posted, someone even commented, oh, it was on your rant about the 75 years old. Someone even mentioned that Tarquin became a High Lord at like 30 years old and that he was like a little baby.
But he was High Lord underneath the mountain.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Which makes some sense.
And
because the way he comes off is very like, no, see, we're very cool. Look at us. We're rebuilding. We're doing great. And rhysand's like, yeah, good job, buddy. Like, it comes across very much like he's like, ah, look at me.
He's 80 years old. That's where I found it. He was 30 when Amarantha took Perinthian under her control, and most of his life he had under the mountain being locked up. And that's when the High Lord of Summercourt was killed by Amarantha under the mountain and all of his family. So Tarquin was just some family member connected, like a little removed, that the power went to him. But yeah, he was very young.
Yeah, no, and I also thought he was young. I just, at somewhere in here, it mentions 200 years. I can't remember what it's in reference to.
I'm not sure.
But I'm just like,
what did I sound with Rhysand?
Why is 200 years a thing? Yeah, and again, honestly, none of it's going to matter. Maybe it's, no, never mind. It's not Azriel. He's 550 years old.
And then I also looked up, I think I was confusing a time when Feyre was flying with Rhysand versus winnowing with Rhysand when I said that there was like an ocean and all of this stuff. This time, this last several chapters, when they winnowed, it was like immediate and very quickly. So I think that I was just confusing. The last time that we talked, I was talking about winnowing, and I thought that she could see things going on around her. Well, she didn't this time.
I remember the way they described winnowing was like folding space.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that makes sense. And you're like, but she saw the ocean. And I'm like,
I think they were flying together at one point. Yeah, I think that's all that was. And then I also noticed we sometimes say Valeria instead of Velaris or Velaris.
All right.
That also was something that I caught that when I was trying to write the word, I kept spelling it Valeria. I was like, do you mean Velaris? I'm like, yes.
I sometimes call Amren
Armando.
Yeah, any number of things. Turns out if they have a name, I'm going to fuck it up.
In 29 is when she is walking in the city at night and experiencing the city at night. And we see that there are fae of all kinds in this city, where you were kind of talking about is a very cultured city with many different types of people. And I think she describes that as seeing the different arts and theater and music and all of these things. And even when they go out to eat, the spices are back. It was kind of all played back into that. And it was in this chapter that Amren ate blood. So we found out officially that she drinks blood for dinner.
Yeah, I felt like a real winner. She's kind of a vampire then.
Yeah.
Or she just likes things very raw.
It was really gross. They were just like, well, I don't know. I don't know what I thought. It was very gross. I felt the disgust with Feyre. And they kept it warm for her. And then they even spiced up the drink.
Which I kind of get. It'd be like a Bloody Mary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the idea. Right?
Oh.
No.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm running with it. What I do?
Do you remember anything else in this scene?
Is this one where they drag her out to the bar?
I think they were trying to, and that's where Morrigan loves going out, and Azriel definitely has a thing for Mor.
Mm-hmm.
And I started when I listened to this the second time around through, I started paying attention to the three of them, Mor, Azriel, and Cassian, trying to guess what the hell is going on with these three. Azriel likes Mor. I thought Cassian also liked Mor, but then Feyre calls Cassian a buffer, so to protect Azriel. Then I thought Cassian liked Mor, but then he's asking her about why she stayed out late, and I'm just confused. Were you listening to any of their relationship dramas going on?
Yeah, I heard it all. None of it made a whole lot of sense, but I think it was kind of purposefully messy. Because, yeah, Azriel seems somewhat fixated on Mor. Even like when they go out to the bar, and Azriel is an interesting character. I like him. And it appears like so far Cassian is sort of just trying to prevent Mor from breaking Azriel's heart. And I think Cassian also just kind of wants to fuck everybody too. He's the only person as horny as Feyre. And rhysand. Never mind, everybody's horny except for Azriel.
No, I think he wants Mor.
I think he wants all of them.
But Mor went out and didn't tell anyone, not even Cassian, which I thought Mor liked Cassian initially. But I think Mor actually has another dude that we don't even know about, not even Azriel or Cassian, but Cassian knows there's something up and he's trying to protect Azriel.
I would argue that it's not a dude. I think she went out and met with somebody over something that's going to become an issue later. I don't think she went completely dark side type shit, but I think she did something that it turns out isn't a great idea, and it kind of fucks him over for a little bit.
I don't know.
That's my guess. I don't think it's a person out there.
Okay, just up to something she shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. And after they left the pub, Feyre didn't go with. Her and rhysand started walking the city, and I think walking back to the brownstone, and she heard the music, and that's when she knew that rhysand was the one that sent music to her in the prison. And I remember listening to that scene and being like, that was a weird moment. Why did she bring any of that up? And I think when she was in the prison cell, I actually thought that it was Tamlin playing the fiddle or something like that. And it turns out it was rhysand.
I remember we had the discussion on that, and I was under the impression she was just hearing music from the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out, no, it was piped in through the old bond to rhysand. He sent memories of that music down the bond.
But he said that he did not send her images of Velaris.
Yes, and I think that's correct.
She was just like, he is just so sweet. He sent me those photos, essentially. And he's like, well, I didn't. She's like, but you did.
Yeah, and I think that's more of an example of...
I don't think he understood the bond at the time. And still struggles with understanding the bond to a degree.
Would you have had the mating bond then? They barely knew each other.
I guess I wasn't comparing it to a mating bond. I thought it was the tattoo bond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that could be. Initially, I thought the tattoo was like a part of that bond. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that hand has anything to do with anything. I think it's just a symbol.
Oh.
I think their agreement... There is a bond with it. I don't think the tattoo is actually anything more than just marks that he kind of put on her as a way to keep her angry. You know what I mean?
I thought one time she talked about the eye moving.
She does. During the trial where she can't read, she talks about seeing it blink and blah, blah, blah. But I don't see whereas any of that's made any difference. Is it? You know what I mean?
You know what? Okay. So you think that it's more a mating bond that they can talk to each other, not the bond of their... Or their
agreement. I think their bond may still be there. I just don't think the tattoo is as integral of a part of it. I think the tattoo is purely symbolic because everybody else has those same tattoos.
Yeah, when they join the whatever group.
Yeah, the Illyrian fighting tattoos, basically, is what it is.
So we have... She gets the tattoo. He sends her the music and the images, but he didn't know. She mind slips into his mind when she dies, and then she gets each little piece. So it's some type of bond before she gets a piece of everybody. And it's a bond before the end of the book where he kind of gives her this odd look, right? Where you were guessing that's the mating bond, which is why I thought it was the tattoo bond, the agreement. But yeah, no, it makes sense.
I'm agreeing with you. I think there's a bond formed then. I just think the tattoo is superfluous.
Yeah, almost like the necklace thing again.
Yeah, other than imagine the power was already there.
Mm-hmm.
Just the necklace isn't necessary. I think that's kind of what it came out to be with the tattoo. I think the tattoo was more of a, this is kind of funny, fuck it. And then also, if he really did also believe that because the tattoo's supposed to provide you with honor and good luck.
That is exactly something he would do.
Well, yeah, either one.
Just given the type of comments that he makes, the energy he brings, he would do a tattoo like that just to mess with her and Tamlin.
Yeah.
Just for his own enjoyment, or even that, like what you said, to bring good luck and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the argument could be made for either. I don't think the tattoo was necessarily, because it's like the eyeball. If the eyeball mattered, why wouldn't it be greatly affected by her putting on gloves? Like,
yeah.
Oh, rhysand, the bond has been darkened now. Why? Because she's gripping something with her hand. Like, it's on her palm.
Okay.
Also, how often are your hands just facing outward, open? You know, like, I don't know. I find it difficult to believe that in most situations outside of when she's reaching for a lever in a word puzzle, that's the one time where I'm like, oh, the eyeball. Cool, he can see through that eyeball. But I don't think that's like the key point of the tattoo. It's like, I really needed an eyeball on her.
After this, talking about the music, they get back to wherever they're at, whichever house they're at. I never know which house they're at. They send the flirty notes again, and she's flirting with him, having a good time, but she still shuts him down. And I forgot all about the licking of the tears, because this is where they were flirting about licking each other and her licking his chest. And she brings up him licking her tears. I'm like, ew, I did not like that part.
Oh, man. And the way they flirt is so ridiculous, right?
I thought it was cute.
I'm not going to lie. I looked at him like, Rhysand, you're old enough to know she's just fucking with you. Go get your sleep, man. Like, don't waste your time with this. You're going to get notes from this woman. Dude, I get where it was like, supposed to be sexy, but some of it, yeah, where she's like, well, hopefully I look better than you did. And he's like, what are you talking about? I look great. And she's like, you did a bad job licking my eyeball. And I'm like, how does somebody do a good job licking your eyeball also?
And she brings up that he was just doing that to piss her off and to just keep her irritated.
Yeah, but that's a weird note to pivot to when you're in the middle of sexting somebody. That's basically what they were doing, right? Was sexting back and forth.
Yes.
And then imagine I'm like, well, you drive me crazy. Hopefully I drive better than you did. Remember that time you hit that deer or something like that? And we'd be like, the fuck are you doing? That's not what we're doing here. And this was sexy and then you made it shitty. Why are you being mean? Too real. Rhysand, my guy, you gotta know this is about to take a hard left. You're better just going your own way.
So I was guessing that she was going to get laid in these last 5 chapters. And this was the moment that I thought she was going to go for it. And she shut him down. I was a little bummed.
You're saying with the sexting?
I was a little bummed that she didn't take him up on it.
That's what I'm saying. Are you talking about the sexting time?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, they could have done it. I wonder if Rhysand is just an old-fashioned dude and is waiting for marriage.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
No.
I think it'd be funny as shit.
I don't think that's the case.
Nah, but it would make this so much funnier if every time he just kept like, just edging her up the whole way. And then he keeps offering other penis to her. He's like, please, take one of those. Take 2 of these.
Whatever you want until you're ready for me.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we once again get to the point where Rhysand isn't the best, right? Where they're like doing their combat. They're practicing and he's like, oh, well, Azriel is just too nice to tell Rhysand that he's out of shape. He's like, because Azriel can beat his ass right now. And you're like, oh shit, he's the 3rd best hand-to-hand combat guy there. And then you gotta figure Mor's at least as good as he is. And the other lady, Amren, like, I just find it so funny. And then she's like, out of shape. What do they feed to these guys? And then she gets into her whole description of them. And yep, they're all spicy looking.
Well, at one point, she's checking them out. Because, this is where chapter 30, they're fighting and all of this, Azriel got back and reported that there's a barrier around the queens, but she's watching them wrestle, thirsting after them. She gets called out on it, I think, like something is said. I saw that she was looking at his tattoos, and that's when he brings up, yeah, we get these tattoos when we join whatever the like child military thing is. And she's like, well, that's not all I was looking at. And then she just goes right back into thirsting after all the boys there. And it was just funny. I liked it.
Yeah, no, she's thirsty as fuck, which is funny. It is the most prevailing thing. I think what the author's doing a great job of is really showing us how sexually frustrated Feyre is.
Yes, that's why I thought she was going to get laid in these chapters. Now I'm hoping it's the next 5 chapters. And I don't think that's going to happen because Rhys just got laid, from what I'm assuming. So if he got laid, then he's not going to be... Yeah, we got a mess going on right here, and things need to sort back out.
I don't know, man. I don't know how you would assume Rhys just got laid. Again, nothing leads us to that.
He was flirting with her.
And then he's not where he's supposed to be afterward.
Neither one of them were. They were both gone.
Right. Did Feyre get laid?
No.
Was she flirting with somebody and then not where she was supposed to be?
What do you mean?
Feyre. Like, was she flirting with what's-his-face?
Yeah.
Feyre was flirting with whatever that guy's name is.
Tarquin.
Yep. She's flirting with him, right? Rhysand is flirting with Iron Princess.
Yep.
Now, it's time for them to get off the boat. What was Feyre's mission while they were on the boat?
Nothing.
To secure stuff.
No.
That was the idea.
No, not on the boat. The stuff isn't on the boat.
We don't know where the stuff is. Find the stuff.
Well, the next morning, Tarquin's going to show her where they keep their treasures.
Right. The next morning, Tarquin's going to show her where they keep the treasure. Now, who else probably knows where they keep the treasure?
The princess.
Right. My guess is Rhysand has done nothing to make us believe that he's out there just banging randos.
Well, the princess was like on his lap, laughing and giggling.
Feyre was that way when she was fairy wine drunk down on the mountain and he didn't bang her.
Okay.
Like, I don't see at any point where he has done anything to make us believe the worst in him as far as this goes. I think she is far more suspicious. She's the one that looks at everything and she's like, his eyes matched the sea. I fucking loved him. And then she's like, but Mr. Violet Eyes over here, I want to stare at his chest veins. And then she's like, also, Tamlin had pretty claws. Like, she's still thirsting after Tamlin in these chapters, I might add.
Is she? She was just talking about how he loves her. And Rhysand is just like, no, he doesn't.
Not. And it was good, and then it wasn't, and blah, blah, blah. She still has her moments of being like, oh, what will he think of me? When I told, it's right after she gets done complimenting this man on how handsome he is. Tarquin, right?
Yeah.
Then she goes, but what would he think of me now with these Night Court fellows? And before that, with Tamlin.
I have notes on this when we get to that chapter. That's still 2 chapters away. I was just in chapter 30.
Listen, I don't remember what each chapter has going on in it. I know that she is thirsty for all of these chapters, and it is totally fine. I get why they're doing it. I get where she's coming from. But we started off going like, Rhysand's probably with some other lady. What? We cannot assume that. Okay. Logically. Okay. That's crazy.
Okay. I guess we will see.
Yeah, if I get proved wrong, I'm going to look like a real dickhead. Thanks, Rhys. I'll be on Tamlin's side after this.
Oh my God.
You know what? Actually, I think the King of Hybern's onto something. Get rid of him.
Yeah, here's my note on chapter 30, because this is how we went down this whole rabbit trail. I have Feyre is thirsty, watching them wrestle. So in chapter 30, they're wrestling, and she is just loving it. And then I have another moment where Azriel and Cassian like more, but Azriel liked her first, is my guess. At this point, this is what I thought. And I also love that Cassian asked Feyre about her drama with Tamlin. And then later, Cassian's asking about Mor and her drama at the pub and where were you? I really like Cassian so far. He's asking all the details to get all of the tea.
See, I took it as he's socially inept and he's trying to be a good friend and be there for these people. But he's like, well, they haven't really come to me with any of this shit. But since I know about these things, the right thing for me to do is ask, especially with Feyre and Tamlin. Where he was just like, hey, seemed like maybe you'd want to talk about that. You hadn't brought it up yet. So I thought I'd open the door for you. I think it was a really nice moment. I'm agreeing with you. I realize it seems like I'm disagreeing. I'm agreeing with you. He's a good character, and I'm enjoying the fact that he's getting all your tea. But he seems to be doing it altruistically.
Yeah, but he was still a bro that when she did start working through those feelings about Tamlin and just punched and destroyed the gloves, he's just standing there. He's like, I'll be here, whatever you need.
Yeah.
So he was still a bro.
Yeah, no, that was my point exactly, is he's not just a drama monster. He's legitimately trying to be helpful, which I really enjoyed. I think Cassian was good. The only thing that I really feel like I missed out on was when Cassian was about to have to fight Amren.
Ooh, yeah, he was challenging her.
Yeah, because she was being a dickhead, and he was like, that's it, give me 200 or get in here.
Yep.
Let's see what's up. And then
I don't think she did.
It was about to happen, and Rhysand, no, because Rhysand showed up but when they were just about to fight and was like, hey, we're leaving. Be nice, kids.
Yes.
And then he took half of them.
And she also pointed out the smell of Rhysand. So she was just watching the boys wrestle, and she's like, oh, and then we got this man over here, and he smells like citrus and sea.
Oh, it was when they hugged, and then she could smell his sweat.
Oh, so that's what his sweat
smells like. Yeah, everybody knows. Nighttime smells like oranges and ocean.
There's candles on Etsy of citrus and sea smell.
I have no doubt.
Do you want me to get some?
You know what? You live your best life. I sure hope so. Isn't that sort of what Old Spice is supposed to be? Like, I don't know.
You enter the home and it smells like citrus and sea, and you're like, oh my God, Rhysand has been here.
Yeah. I really appreciate the way that it's written about, because you can tell how horned up she is. Nobody's sweat smells like citrus and sea.
Rhysand's does.
Yeah. I appreciate that those descriptions clearly are pointing to how horned up she is. And that's all. To be fair, she right now is a character of pure power that's attempting to be learned to use, and horniness, and that's it. That's all she's bringing to the table.
This is what we want.
Okay. Yep.
And then it was right at the end of this chapter where Rhys asked her to summon darkness. I don't think that she ended up doing it in the end. I think it was Rhys who did it. Is that what you got from it?
That was my impression as well, yeah. Is that it was his darkness, not hers.
Okay.
And then those guys used it as time for training.
Yes.
And they pretended as though they weren't listening to the entire conversation. That was honestly my favorite part of that whole chapter. It's like, oh, they tried to make it not obvious that they were eavesdropping. And I'm just imagining them making clanking noises with swords, just very lightly, kind of pointing them at each other while they're just obviously listening to what's going on around them.
And Rhys, I believe it was this moment where he's just like, you can go home and shower. If she's like, well, I'm going to fly with Cassian home. Just her, I don't know. She's pushing him away. Stop it.
I just think it's really funny that every time her little pouty method of dealing with Rhysand is she gets herself horny and then gets him horny. And then she goes, you asshole, why are you horny? And then she does some stupid shit.
Cassian.
Yeah, and if I'm Cassian, I'm like, how about you find a fucking bird or get an Uber? Like, I don't know. I don't want you. Like, all you are is problems and drama.
Chapter 31, they're back in the fighting ring, wherever this may be. I kind of am picturing just a huge field with stone all around it. What do you picture where they're fighting at?
Honestly, a beach.
Oh, because of the citrus and sea smell?
It must have been, yeah. It's like, oh, it's just a beach with like a plain four-sided boxing ring in it. And honestly, that's the other thing too. I pictured more boxing than what there probably really is. But she's like, I burned through my gloves. And I was like, oh, for that to be cool, it would be like boxing gloves.
I think that, yeah, I was picturing boxing gloves also.
Like, oh, these all-powerful Fae, what they really need to get good at is punching each other. This is going to be helpful in battle.
This is the time that Cassian asked about Mor. And I'm trying to get all the details to figure out who likes who and who's doing what. This is when I thought Cassian didn't actually like Mor, and that he's trying to protect Azriel, and that Mor might like somebody else that we don't know about. But we already kind of talked about this a little bit, that you think it's likely her in a situation that she shouldn't be, and she doesn't want to talk about it yet.
Yeah, or at least a situation that she knows they wouldn't approve of. I think that may be the real deal. I don't know that it's necessarily relationship-based or if it's based off of prepping things for high burn, or maybe Rhysand is like, hey, do what needs to be done, like he does with Feyre for some reason. It's like, if you gotta blow him for it, you gotta blow him for it.
Oh my gosh.
That's basically what he does. Is it not?
Yeah, it is. He's like, do what needs to be done.
Yeah, which is such a wild move. And if somebody's giving their subordinates that advice, how can you trust anything they're saying either? Like, Rhys, I'm on your side, but you're making it hard.
I like Amren and Cassian's interaction, and this was the chapter I think that he was challenging Amren, and Amren didn't tell them for like an hour that she had information to share with them from Rhys. Like, oh, we're going to the summer court. And she just sat there just watching them. She's like, oh, I must have forgot.
Yeah, she was in no rush to...
I just love her energy. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, her energy as a whole, I really enjoy. She's just unbothered, and nobody makes her do anything she doesn't want to do. She just does shit at her own pace. It is perfect.
I loved it. And Rhys shows up. That's when he shares the news. Cassian isn't invited. Mor needs to stay back. It's going to be Amren, Rhys, and Feyre. And Azriel, I don't know what he was doing. I'm assuming doing Azriel things.
He was still trying to get his people in on the inside with the queens.
Right. Because it was in the last chapter that we found out that there is a wall of some kind of barrier around the queens. And we still haven't heard anything back from the sisters or the queens or anything like that yet.
Yes, and Feyre wondered how long it would be before Plan B would need to be considered.
Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 32, I had to re-listen 2 or 3 times to figure out who the dog was or that Rhys had a dog. And I think you were there when I kept like replaying it. I'm just like, there isn't a dog.
Yeah.
It's Feyre. She called herself his pet. I got confused. I thought he had a pet, and I was very excited to learn about it. No, it was just me being a dumbass.
My favorite was, after you told me that you thought they were talking about some sort of like hellhound type thing, I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I fucked this up. I thought Feyre was talking about herself. And then it turned out that that was what had happened, but I realized the error in the writer's way. Because like, oh man, if he had a dog, then that would be it. He would be the perfect man.
Yeah, Rhys needs a hellhound type dog.
All right, like give him a plant, give him a dog.
He takes care of 3 homes.
I don't think he's doing it. The maid women, they're always with him. They're doing it. They're to be seen and not heard, and one of his best friends scares them to death. I don't know. Some days I feel like he should be nicer to them.
Do you remember when she shows up to the summer court? She sees Tarquin, and she gets this sense of, I remember you. I remember you. What do you think that was about?
I must have missed that because I thought she said, didn't remember seeing him under the mountain. That's, I guess.
She did say that.
Oh, okay.
I think she did, but she had this sense of, and that's where I think it was Tarquin's power within her having this, I remember
familiarity.
Yeah, with him.
I think that makes sense because, never mind, she said, you look better, or the summer suits you, or something like that.
Yes.
Basically, you're better looking not under the mountain.
Yes.
She was speaking to the princess when she's like, I don't remember seeing you under the mountain.
Oh.
That's, I believe, who she was talking to.
Oh, I did not catch that.
And this could be totally wrong. Like I said, I was doing so many things while listening to this. These chapters were hard because they were so dialogue heavy, but not event heavy.
Mm.
And I don't know, something about it just made it so difficult. I got to, honestly, this chapter as a whole was a little difficult because there's a lot of nuanced things happening where she's trying to play it cool like she's James Bond. She did really great. That endeared me so much more to Feyre than what I've felt before this.
Even when she got called out on her boobs being like out and about.
I don't remember this at all. What the hell are we talking about? Feyre's boob?
Yes. Okay, so this chapter, she shows up in the
I'm starting to think I didn't listen to this chapter.
Clearly.
Yeah.
She shows up. She's talking about Amren's outfit. Amren's looking great. She talks about her outfit. She's looking fire. She didn't even talk about her boobies. She just said she's in this, I think, lavender dress, and she shows up. The end of chapter 31, her and Rhys are flirting, and she's like, did you set any traps for me or something like this, right? And I don't quite know how the flirtiness went.
Booby trap? Okay.
But he looks at her mouth when he then like shadows or disappears, right? The end of the flirting. End scene. Chapter 32, she's looking great. They show up to Summer Court. Tarquin looks her up and down and gets caught at her chest area. Rhys then just calls it out in front of everyone who is here at this meet and greet. He's like, don't her, essentially, tits look delicious today. And Feyre then makes a comment about him looking at her mouth. And she was just calm, cool, and collected. And that's where you had said she was all this confidence. And in that moment, rather than being embarrassed or stammering or anything like that, she was just like, yeah, we'll talk about my tits. I don't care.
Yeah, I missed it. I missed all of it.
What?
Yeah, sincerely, I don't remember any part of that.
Oh, goodness.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
I re-listened to this twice, I might add.
Yeah. Well, and she feels a tug, like the same kind of like thread tug. It's not as strong as with Rhys, which kind of makes sense because there was another time that it was mentioned that Rhys's power, therefore his drop, probably has more.
Just in chapter 30.
Yeah, it has more something within her, right? She probably has more power from him than the other High Lords. But she felt a tug with Tarquin, and I kept wondering, does he feel the same? And I think he does, and that was part of his attraction to her, and that he might have been misreading it.
She discusses that.
Yeah.
She says he may be interpreting that as attraction.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hearing my name as the city is very difficult.
So what's really funny is I didn't think, like, okay, it's so similar to your name, right? Other than
Yes.
T's.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of Adriana, it's Atriana.
No, it's ADRI, exactly like my name.
Yeah.
And then ATA.
There we go.
Adriata
There we go.
is the name of the city.
Yeah.
I have such a unique name that I don't hear it out and about often. So every time that they mention the city name, my reaction to hearing it is somebody calling for me, as I don't have a name that is in everyday language or a common name either.
Unless you listen to a lot of Vince Gill.
Yes, which I do not.
You could start.
There were no lesser fairies in the summer court that she saw, which is a big difference compared to the night court. There's definitely the separation in high fae and lesser fae.
Yeah, and she does very explicitly. Like, we saw 0.
Yep.
Yep, I do remember hearing that.
Do you remember what Callan Mai was?
Callan Mai is the summer solstice, is that correct?
It could be. She brought this up to Rhys when he was in her room, I think, or you haven't forgotten about me since Callan Mai. Something blurry, right? And while she is here on the pleasure barge, she's thinking about that's coming up and wondering about that. That was, I think, the mating thing that Tamlin did.
Well, so that's when I thought he did it was, maybe it's a spring equinox or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I think that Callan Mai, let me look it up.
It was the first fire festival, though, where she met Rhysand there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the one where Tamlin was doing the weird mating thing with all the fairies.
Still super necessary.
I also viewed Feyre as a power queen, kind of like a size queen, but for power, since she has a thing for Tamlin, Rhys, Tarquin. She's just going to collect them all.
I think there's some truth to that. I don't necessarily think that I don't think she's in love with all these different things. Oh, never mind. I have something I wanted to discuss on this too.
What?
Feyre still thinks that she had this very deep love for Tamlin.
She does when she reflects back on it. Like, she has a lot of, not hatred, but realizations about Tamlin and their love and their relationship and how it wasn't good. But yeah, no, she does.
She's so bitter, too. Like, that was when they were fighting and she was boxing, blah, blah, blah. She melted through the gloves because of the fire in her hands. Because, she's like, he didn't want to release me. He wanted to fuck me when he thought we were going to die. Which I think is a totally valid standpoint to have, but then to be like, I have love deeply. And I'm like, no, you still don't know what this means. It's like, you're still a child. You don't love somebody. And then that's what it turns into. You were so excited and Twitter-pated by that dude. And then you realize now, like, you want there to be a Rhysand and her love story. And there just isn't one. Because she doesn't necessarily exhibit any signs of loving rhysand. She
She's
exhibits
very-
signs of being horned up by rhysand.
I was just going to say, she shows a lot of signs of lust often, but not the deep love. But I think she's getting a deeper love for Rhys because of their bond, but I don't think near as much as Rhys has for her, such as always like looking out for her or checking in on her.
Yeah, and I just don't think either of them are exhibiting necessarily a lot of signs of somebody that loves the other person.
Yeah.
Like, it's
They're-
very...
There's a word for it. What's the name for it? It's not like puppy love, but just an early stage relationship type infatuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, infatuation, I think, is a good term for how she feels about them.
Yeah, and she's not honest with herself about it either yet, though.
No.
It's more middle schooly in the sense of like, oh, what if he doesn't like me back? Or what if he thinks what I'm wearing is stupid? And then he's like, great tits. And she's like, I'm going to wear this every time I think of my tits. You know what I mean? That's what it reminds me of. It's not bad at all. I'm being hard on it, but it's only because these chapters were so heavily
You don't even remember
lusty
these
monologue.
chapters.
I don't remember any of the good parts. I remember all the bullshit where she was horny for everybody that walked by. She had a moment with Amren, even, where she was just like, her perfect little body, basically. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Keep in your pants. Yeah, she looks great. You both look great. Now calm down.
Do you remember, I think this is how you pronounce it, Cressida? I don't know. I'm
Is
just
that
going to
the-
say Cressida.
Murder Princess.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you remember her talking about the situation with the Spring Court and that she implied that there would be a war between the Spring Court and Night Court and do not expect the Summer Court to get involved and be on your side? And she called she called Tamlin Feyre's master.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You do remember this?
I do remember that, yeah.
Okay.
No, like I said, I listened to this twice. I just missed all of the important shit. This one,
This
yeah,
was an
because they
important
bring
one,
up,
though.
yeah, because that's technically the law of their land.
And
That is the law. So you do by law, he is your master. Even if you've decided now to swear fealty to another High Lord, Tamlin is your master.
they never got married.
It doesn't matter. According to her, you were his betrothed, and it makes no difference if you swear fealty to another High Lord.
I
is your master
was
by
taking it
law.
that they thought Rhys took Feyre not by the book. Remember when Rhys said, we did it by the book, right, to Mor? That the Summer Court is under the impression that they didn't do it by the book and that Rhysand went to Spring Court and took Feyre as opposed to Feyre left on her own accord.
Maybe that's at the point that you're referencing, that may be true. The point I'm referencing is after she says, listen, I left on my own accord. I have no master.
Yeah.
And then this lady's like, well, actually, you do by law. She's like, regardless of if you left or not, you can swear fealty to another High Lord. Makes no difference. You are his betrothed. He is your master. Unless he decides that you're not.
Oh.
That's the idea behind this. I don't think she explicitly says unless he decides you're not, because I don't think they even consider
That makes
option.
sense why Rhys is still threatened, because she was relieved that they didn't need to return a stolen bride to her master, but yet Rhysand still made a point to threaten her of, if you tell.
If you tell them where she's
Yes.
at, I'll fucking kill you.
Yep.
And then a little blue-eyed boy got, real puffy, and he was like, hey, you better not be threatening her. And he's like, it's not a threat, it's a promise. He's like, you don't threaten me in my house. And Rhysand's like, calm down, small child. I will fucking crush you.
Yes.
And then he started eating food while just mind vibing it to himself. He was cracking crustaceans with his mind powers.
You remember that? Wait, what?
Yeah, he was like cracking crab legs without using his hands.
No, he wasn't.
Oh man, it explicitly said that. I don't
Wow,
remember
what an
this.
odd detail that you remember. I think I was so hung up on his threat. I was like, yes, I loved it. I love that he did that. And that's, I think, why I'm still so bothered by chapter 33.
I think the appropriate thing for Rhys to do would be to go smack around Tamlin a bit and then be like, now let's just call a spade here. You don't need to be mad anymore. I beat you up. I'll take your bride.
No,
That's-
I think Feyre needs to go slap Tamlin.
Yeah, well, I think Feyre can do that if she ever figures out how to train. Again, she's not a fast learner.
She's doing great. She's trained like 2 times. Or 2 times that we have been there, and it was on several days.
Gone.
She's doing great.
Okay.
She's training.
Yep.
She was able to move water around the room. She can
Yeah.
make
We didn't discuss
fire.
that at all.
We did discuss it. I called it a water trick.
Yeah, I guess we didn't discuss it the same way. I thought we were going to, but that's funny. Fair enough.
In chapter 33, this is when Rhys swaggers into Feyre's room, shirt unbuttoned, and Rhys likes Tarquin. He kind of brings this up, that he kind of feels guilty doing this to him. He's kind of a bro, and then Feyre's just like, should I sleep with him? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess, if that's what's needed. All in the name of the mission.
Yeah, I just love the fact, too, that this is basically a child. She's literally like...
This
Should I
man is
sleep
her
with this child?
age.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, as far as Faye are concerned, the way that they age, he is quite literally barely an adult. It's like he turned 18 2 weeks ago.
She just turned 18 like 2 weeks ago.
Here's the funny thing. I agree with you.
Don't bring up their ages.
Okay. Go ahead.
Rhysand seems a little jealous of Tarquin eyeing her because I don't remember how it was brought up, but he was very jealous and he just was noticing it often. And I think that's where he was acting that way with a princess to get back at her and Tarquin for all their flirting.
Maybe it's just what he does, to be fair. I don't know, man. I don't think Rhysand is out banging the princess.
I know. We brought this one
I
up.
know,
We've come around it many
but
times. And
I
this
don't
is where she's told to light the candle. And she doesn't. She instead manipulates water from the ground, which I was very confused that there was water on the ground. Doesn't matter. Created droplets. And sleeping with Tarquin was brought up again.
I don't even know what we're doing right now. Where are we at right now?
Oh,
I thought we were on the boat.
They are on the boat.
Oh yeah, it's a real boat. Or it's a yacht. And maybe this is why when I was listening, it was confusing to me. The fact that there are like cabins on the boat.
Yeah.
Versus initially, I'm thinking it's a party barge. It's just a big pontoon.
No, it's like a yacht.
I'm going to have dinner on my pontoon. Like, I don't know why in my brain that made sense.
He's a high lord. He obviously has something bigger than a pontoon.
You have a larger pontoon. I don't know. Listen, this kid, he's got a nice boat. He's got a beautiful place. His eyes match the water. And Feyre's all about his muscles too, because when he turned, he had a big muscled neck.
Do you know what he looks like?
He's a blonde dude with a big muscled neck. I have no idea outside of that. I'm assuming this one's got to have short hair, right? Do you know what this one looks like? You Google all of these things as they happen.
Yes, I Google everybody. So I just looked up Tarquin, Akatar. He's also the V-cut shirts. This is almost like what she had to wear under the mountain, just on a man. The scarf and the belt across.
This is almost the same thing as Illyrian fighting leather, just loose fit. It's all the same shit.
Fighting.
Look at this. It's the exact same thing. I don't know, man.
Oh, look at that one. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
That's just a regular dude.
Oh, they're matching in this one. I'm assuming that's Feyre in this dress, but she was wearing lavender. So maybe that is not her.
Perhaps that's the princess.
I think he has like 15 abs. Anyways,
know.
that's what he looks like. And Rhys was a little jealous of him eyeing up Feyre.
Yeah, again, I think Rhys experiences this with other High Lords or other people whom could be deemed as threatening to him.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I just don't know why. Like, he keeps stupid games, stupid prizes.
Yep.
It's the same circle. And Feyre participates in a similar way. And you're like, you too. They're like that couple that before you start drinking with them, you're like, oh my God, these people are fun, right? Like, we're going to have a good time. And then they start drinking and they gradually start just kind of picking at each other until they're just pissed at each other by like beer 5. Does that make sense?
I see it as their flirtation. I don't think that they've ever really been pissed at each other.
You don't think Pharaoh's ever been pissed at Rhysand?
Okay. All right. Now when you say it like that, I do remember sometimes she was kind of pissed at him.
Oh, he's not angry at her. Sure. He's just pouty for no reason. You just thought he just went and fucked a princess out of spite. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? No, they are that couple, right? Or you're like, oh.
They're not even a couple.
But they kind of are, because they also they refuse to do anything not together.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they're
It's
definitely
a coincidence. Feyre always needs to be on the same mission as Rhys.
Yeah. He's like, we need to bring Amren because they're very afraid of her. We'll bring me because I like seafood. Let's see. Well, I guess we should bring Feyre. Why? Well, she's charming? No. Remember, this was even the princess lady's like, your unique puss is what's got everybody all wound up. I swear to God, that's basically what she says. She's like, that strange human fey hybrid cooch you've got running around this place, get everybody going crazy. Daemon's losing his mind. Van Night Court's losing her mind. And now she's like, now look at Tarquin. Even he's all goofy looking now. Like, everybody can't stop staring at it. Like, that's basically what she says. And that's where she's like, listen, what I do with my business is my business.
She doesn't do much with her business because she's not getting laid.
Nobody knows that, though. As far as everybody else knows in the story, she's been out there banging everybody.
And she sees Rhys flirting with the princess. Tarquin notices, and this is kind of what this chapter ends on. Chapter, I think, 32 or 33 ends on Tarquin noticing. She gets jealous. He's like, what do you need? She's like, I think I need space. He's like, do you want me to come with? She's like, no. And she just hangs out for the rest of the trip by herself in her own thoughts.
Are you familiar with the song One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Beer?
No.
It's sung by a great man named George Thorogood, right? He has another song.
Which is, wait, why bring up the first song if you're going to bring up the second song?
Honestly, I remembered George Thorogood before I remembered the song on one of them. And One Bourbon, One Scotch, and One Beer. And I'm like, hey, that's a song George Thorogood has. And then I was like, that's not the one. Anyway, at some point he has this lyric in a song where, when I drink alone, I prefer to be by myself, right?
I don't get the point of that lyric. That sounds so obvious.
Feyre says, I need space, and he says, do you want me to come with you? That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the exact same phrase. I need my space. Oh, cool, yeah. I think I could have some of that space you're having, too. Let's both go have some of your space. Maybe it's better than my space. I was like, what the fuck? No, guy. Get out of here.
I'm glad that she stuck to it. She's like, no, I need my space.
Yeah, I'm glad she did too. But also, we're like, this man is leading the free world of the summer court. You need space.
He's young. Leave him alone.
Okay, but he's not that young. He's old enough to toss a little cock. Isn't that what you said? We're keeping the book how you like it. Where the boys are always old enough and never too old. Everybody's just old enough.
Well, that's the end of chapter 33.
Was it really? That's how it ended?
It ended with her being jealous. Me being upset.
Because you thought rhysand was banging
sleeping with, yes.
And that's it? That's
it. That's what it ended on. Yep.
Wow.
Now I want to listen to the next chapter. Did Rhys sleep with her?
No. And if I'm wrong on this, I'm going to eat so much crow. Because I'm so convinced that he did not.
No, I'm hoping he didn't.
Yeah, no, I think we're both hoping that now. I wasn't even that invested before, and now I need to hope that. Nobody can be this wrong this confidently.
All right, let's go listen to the next chapter. Hopefully him and Feyre bang one out because it's entertaining. Watching you squirm, I'm just like, is it done?
Listen, I don't even care if they do or don't. I just want them to hurry up and do it or don't do it. This will they, won't they does not affect me. I'm like, either do or don't. Just hurry up and either do it or don't do it. According to Livy, I have 2 days left with this book.
We have to switch to Spotify to listen to the rest of the book.
Yeah, as of in the next 45 minutes.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my bestie.
You're my bestie. It was a great time. We had fun. Now get out and go live your life.
No, wait. No. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate and love you all. Please follow us here, TikTok or Instagram at Shadow Daddies Podcast.
And then go live your life.
Bye.
Bye. Get out. We're done. This was Daggers and Shadow Daddies. Now it's my time. Toodaloo. It was fun for us. I hope it was fun for you. But that's all we've got. Goodbye. Come back in a few days. We love you.